Good day, everyone. Today, me and my group mates will going to report mathematics in ancient Greece and Islamic. Under this topic, the Greek and Islamic mathematician and their contribution will be discussed as well as the use of math in our daily lives and of course, the mathematics connection to science. Before we start discussing the said topic, let me share this quote to all of you. Those who claim to discover everything but produce no proofs of the same may be confuted as having actually pretended to discover the impossible by Archimedes. The word Greek comes across our educational years time and time again. In religion, we read about the legendary Greek gods. In language, we read about their symbolism and literature. The ancient Greeks are famously known for their history, literature, arts, science, philosophy, and religion. However, there is one field that Greeks have mastered in, which is mathematics, that we do not appreciate as much as we should be. These are the famous Greek mathematicians: Euclid, Pythagoras, Archimedes, Thales of Miletus, Aristotle, Diophantus, Eratosthenes, Hipparchus, hero of Alexandria, Ptolemy, Xenocrates, Anaxagoras, Hypatia, Antiphon, and Diocles. Euclid and his math contribution. Euclid, known as Euclid of Alexandria. He is the father of geometry, deduced the Euclidean geometry. His name has it all, which is in Greek means renowned or glorious. He worked his entire life in the field of mathematics and made revolutionary contribution to geometry. He wrote the most important and successful mathematical textbook of all time, the Stoicheion or Elements, which represent the culmination of the mathematical revolution which had taken place in Greece up to that time. He also wrote works on the division of geometrical figures into parts in given ratios, on catoptrics, which is the mathematical theory of mirrors and reflection, and on spherical astronomy, which is the determination of location of objects on the celestial sphere, as well as important texts on optics and music.
Pythagoras, father of the theorem of Pythagoras, sometimes called as the first true mathematician. His contribution was really important, but for some reason he remained to have controversial figure. He left no mathematical writings himself. What we know now about Pythagorean comes from as the writings of Philolaus and other Pythagorean scholars. Archimedes. He tried for gaining knowledge and mathematical education and made various contributions. He is best known for antiquity and the invention of compound pulleys and screw pump. His contributions to math were legion and mostly based around his theory of exclusion, where he would look for solutions close to desired answer and give a range. This was the only way that the Greeks could address irrational numbers such as p and square roots. Thales of Miletus. He was the first individual to whom a mathematical discovery was attributed. He was Greek mathematician, philosopher, astronomer, and merchant. He is best known for Thales' theorem, aptly named after him, dictating that if a triangle is inscribed in a circle with one side being the diameter of the circle, then it's the right triangle. He is considered Greece's first true scientist and mathematician. Aristotle. Aristotle had a diverse knowledge over various areas including mathematics, geology, physics, metaphysics, biology, medicine, and psychology. He was a pupil of Plato. Aristotle discussed two major concerns for the nature of mathematics. In one, he mentioned that there must be some observable principles to avoid infinite regresses. And in the other, he mentions that the proof should be explanatory. He mentions two ways to start a proof, i.e. by assumes or by posits. Assumes are the statements that are accepted as true without any proof, whereas posits are divided into two types, i.e. hypotheses and definitions. Diophantus, he was a Hellenistic Greek mathematician, best known as the father of algebra and attributed to a series of books. His equations can be defined as polynomial equations in several unknowns. The compilations of his books were called Arithmetica.
Eratosthenes. He is known as the person who calculated the circumference of the Earth. He is also the first one to calculate the tilt of the Earth axis. Both of the calculations were remarkably accurate. Therefore, he became the world famous for his incredible accurate calculations. Hero of Alexandria. He described a method for iteratively computing the square root of a number. He was an important geometer and also a worker in mechanics who invented many machines, including a steam turbine. He is best known as a mathematical work in the formula for the area of a triangle in terms of the lengths of its sides. Ptolemy. Ptolemy is a famous mathematician, astronomer, a geographer, astrologer, and a poet of a single epigram in Greek anthology. He is the one author, writer, and a mathematician who took the advantage of his knowledge over the two fields to write several scientific researches. The Great Treatise is one of his own works now, known as Almagest. Xenocrates. Xenocrates of Chalcedon was a Greek philosopher, a mathematician, and a leader of the Platonic Academy from 339 8 to 314 BC. He was known to have written a book on numbers, theory of number, and geometry. He had the unique talent of calculating the syllables out of an alphabet. One attempted to find the total number of syllables that would be made from letters of the alphabet. Anaxagoras. He gave a number of novel scientific accounts of natural phenomena. Due to his exceptional knowledge over mathematics and astronomy, he produced the correct explanation of eclipses and description of the sun as a fiery mass larger than the Peloponnese. He also is the one who explained meteors and rainbows.
Hipparchus. He is intelligent and perspicacious Hipparchus, ancient Greek mythologist who made many mathematical contributions throughout his lifetime. He was the founder of trigonometry. He was the first to develop a reliable method to predict solar eclipses. He possessed the first mathematical trigonometric table.
Hypatia. Hypatia of Alexandria was the daughter of a mathematician and took her father as an inspiration to become a mathematician herself. She is the first woman to make valuable contributions in the field of mathematics. Was known more for the work she did in mathematics than astronomy, primarily for her works on the ideas of conic sections introduced by Apollonius. This concept developed the ideas of hyperbolas, parabolas, and ellipses. Antiphon. He was the first to give an upper and lower bound for the values of pi by inscribing and then circumscribing a polygon around a circle and finally proceeding to calculate the polygon's areas. The method was applied to squaring the circle. He made comprehensive changes in the world of mathematics through his profound knowledge over the subject, such that is known and applied in the modern day. Diocles. Diocles was a philosopher, priest, an emperor, mathematician, and geometer. This famous mathematician was most popularly known for his work in the subclassification of geometry. His name is associated with the geometric curve called the cissoid of Diocles. This method was used in solving the problem of doubling the cube. The following are the famous Islamic mathematicians and their contributions: Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi, Abu al-Hasan, Omar Khayyam, Ibrahim ibn Sinan Sharaf al-Din, Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi, more commonly known as al-Khwarizmi. He was the father of a new era in Islamic mathematics. The basis of algebra was found by al-Khwarizmi, who discovered it in the early 9th century. In the book he wrote, he solves over 100 quadratic equations with explanations. Al-Khwarizmi confined his discussion to equations of the first and second degrees. He is also known as the person who introduced the Western world to the decimal numerical system, which is the most widely used number system today.
Abu al-Hasan, also known as Al-Hazen, although Carl Friedrich Gauss is credited to being the first person to efficiently add up the first 100 numbers. Abu al-Hasan is believed to have done it before. Had success in many other fields too, including astronomy, philosophy, and engineering. He did a lot of work on the number theory and came across theories based upon perfect numbers. He created theories linking algebra to geometry. His theory for adding the first 100 numbers was proved with the help of geometry, as it was his focal point. Omar Khayyam. He was a key figure in the mathematical area during the Islamic Golden Age. He wrote one of the most famous treatises of algebra. He created the first theories known about parallels in quadrilaterals. He also found out how to solve roots of any degree, laying down some of the principles of algebra about a century and a half after Al-Khwarizmi produced the course of algebra. His works are evident in a book he published called Explanations of Difficulties in the Postulates of Euclid. Ibrahim ibn Sinan. He was known throughout the empire. He found out multiple trigonometry identities and was key in finding out about tangents in circles. His famous piece of work is said to be on the quadrature of the parabola. He gave proof in one of his books demonstrating how the area of a segment of the parabola is 4/3 the area of the inscribed triangle. Sharaf al-Din. He dedicated most of his work to algebra and astronomy. He further worked upon the idea of algebra from mathematicians like Al-Khwarizmi and Omar Khayyam. As an astrologist, he created some algorithms and observation reports for the exact bearings of the stars at different times of the year.
Sharaf al-Din. He solved extremely bulky arithmetic problems like 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 and so on using exponents 2 to the power of 7. He founded algebraic identities such as a squared plus b squared equals a plus b squared and many other concepts. He was the first to define the different degrees of equations and solve them. Mathematics in daily life. First, we have making routine budgets. Managing your budget, saving money, and requesting a loan are all to do with maths. With each aspect, there are estimations and allowance to make, tax to calculate, interest to add, the list goes on. This is exactly why a good command of maths is useful for finance. Second is construction purpose. In the modern world, builders use math every day to do their work. Construction workers add, subtract, divide, multiply, and work with fractions. They measure the area, volume, length, and width. Third, exercising and training. Mathematics can be used to work out calories and macronutrients, body composition, and to progressively overload in strength training, incrementally increase the workload on the body to avoid plateaus. Fourth is interior designing. Math is also used in electronics, piping, and wiring, which is important in placement and room design. Accurate measuring is required to determine which types and sizes of furniture will work best in the space. Interior designers must be able to measure the space as well as the size of the components that will fit it. Fifth, shopping of goods. There are several types of math used when you buy something. First, use counting and addition used in order to tell how much money you have. Percentage and addition are used to calculate the purchase price. Then, subtraction is used in order to figure out how much change is due. Sixth is cooking. In cooking, math is used for portion control to maintain consistency in production and to compute food costs. Mastering math leads to better results in the kitchen through accuracy and consistency. Seventh, the management of time. We calculate how much time we don't have, subtract how much time we spend doing the things we must do, as well as things we want to do. This is just an example. Some subtract more and some subtract less, but everyone subtracts and most would say we have less free time in a week than we initially think. 8. Sports. In sports, commentator uses math to calculate the new score of a game when a team completes a play successfully. For example, if a basketball team has 68 points and completes a regular basket, the announcer may announce a new score of 70 by adding 2 points to the current score. And for the last is driving. In driving, we use distance travel, that the shortest route to take to reach a destination. Connection of math to science. Mathematics and science seems naturally connected to each other. Its method and relation can always be seen in our daily lives while studying, working, and doing errands. First, mathematics can be used in science to organize and analyze data in tables and graphs. Second, mathematics can help represent scientific phenomena and understand scientific concepts. Students are benefited by mathematics and science. Teachers let the students learn this too because science provides concrete examples of abstract mathematical ideas and mathematics helps students achieve deep understanding of science concepts. And for the references, https://www.famousmathematicians.net/famous-greek-mathematicians/ famous-mathematicians-islamic-mathematics-weebly.com